All right. Well, I'm really excited to be on here with y'all tonight. I've actually been looking forward to this call because a couple reasons. One, anytime someone earns something, it's just more fun to me to like be with y'all, knowing that you did something to be a part of this. And also because I love small, intimate trainings. I want this to feel like you're in my living room with a hot cup of tea or a cup of decaf since it's 7:30 at night and just like in my living room chatting. So if you want to ask me a question, if you want to stop me and like have me go into more detail about something, if you want to give me some feedback, I'm dead serious. Please interact with me. That would make me so happy. And I may ask y'all a couple questions too, but I was just jotting down, I was going through some of the things that you guys feel like you need to work on. And as I was looking through all those, there was kind of a theme. Like there were several things that I saw that kind of kept coming up. Hey, everyone that's coming on. And I was just saying real quickly that if you want to unmute at any point and ask a question or interact, please feel free to do that. But anyway, as I was going through the list, I noticed that there was a lot of similar things that were coming out. So I'm going to take some time to go through some of those. But really what I had on my heart that I wanted to share first, I just kept thinking about, and probably because I had a recent conversation with someone who's been struggling. And one thing I asked her was, do you have a vision for your business? And so what I mean by that is, and this can apply to anything in life. You have a vision for your marriage. You have a vision for intentionality with your children, like whatever it is. But if you don't have a vision for where you want to go in your business, it's going to be very difficult to get there, right? Because like, for example, if I'm like, I want to go on vacation, but I have no idea where I want to go, it's just a pipe dream. There's not going to be any intentional steps that I'm taking to go to this specific place that I want to be, right? It's just like a pipe dream. And so that is just something that's kind of been stirring in me, is just asking people, and it's different than your why. I'm sure all of us could probably really quickly say why I'm doing this. That's a very important aspect of this business. It's one of the foundational pieces because again, that gives us purpose. But is there vision for what you want for your business? So if you don't feel like that feels really solid to you, I want you to take some time this week and just write out your vision, what you see for yourself, for your team, for the people that you want to bring on to your team, for the people that are existing on your team, where you want to head as far as a rank, where you want to head in your culture, like what culture do you want to bring about? And just spend some time like writing that out and journaling. I actually did this recently about 2 or 3 months ago. I had really felt like I was in a stagnant place in my business and a stagnant pace in my leadership. And I didn't realize it because I really had kind of been filled to capacity with taking care of my father. Some of you probably know that he had Alzheimer's dementia, and I was taking a lot of care for him. And he passed away in January. And I've just kind of noticed as time's gone by that I had like an extra energy about me. And as I was journaling about it, I realized that it was no longer having that like grief of caring for my dad, like his physical and emotional needs. Of course, we miss him terribly, but it's like God kind of gave me a new space that I didn't even realize I was missing, to be honest. But he revealed that to me and I really started journaling. And that's what I realized it was, is that I had been filled to capacity mentally and emotionally. So I'd gotten very stagnant in my leadership and in some of my relationships as well. And so I kind of sat down and I thought, what is my vision? What do I want for my own business? What do I want for my team? Where can I bring value? And that's why I asked you about your strengths, because if you don't know what your strengths are, it's hard to figure out what value you can offer your people, right? Or offer your audience, offer the people that you're wanting to get into your business. And so I've been doing a lot of self-reflection, and I think that's so important. Knowing where you're at, like if you don't have that awareness of where you're at in your business, in your leadership, in your recruiting, in your follow-up, in your social media influence, like all those things. If there's not actually awareness, you don't know where to grow, and you don't know what to spend your time on to grow yourself and to grow your business. Does that make sense? Okay, so I want you to spend some time in awareness. What's your vision for yourself, for your potential team, for your current team? What is your vision for the culture that you want to have for your team? And that is something, I know we have various ranks on here, but that is something you want to start really early on. I did not realize how culture intentionally is created or is unintentionally created until I was months long, maybe even longer than that, into my business. And I was reading a book called Millionaire by Halftime. Have y'all read that? Raise your hand if you've read that. It's kind of an older one. It's got a lot of good tips. I actually did a book study on it a few years ago, and it was probably the most successful one I've done because it was such tangible things. So if that's not a book you've read and you don't have like a stack this high, add that to your list because it's got some really good stuff. But I was reading through it, actually coming back from a leaders retreat on an airplane, and it said the difference in a team of 100 and 1,000 is culture. And that really started, again, awareness, you guys, awareness. That really started me being more aware of, what do I want my team culture to look like, right? And it's either going to intentionally be created by me with the values that I want my team to have, or it's going to unintentionally be created. And it's just going to be this kind of mess of a thing, right? And so I was like, what's important to me? Personal development is really important to me. High caliber recruiting is really important to me. Growing leaders is really important to me. Investing in my people, like being in the trenches with them and them seeing me do those things, that's really important to me. So on and on, I made this list of things, probably of 10 to 15 things, and then went and highlighted, like, what am I going to intentionally work towards? And then what I started doing is doing incentives towards certain specific things. Like maybe that looked like personal development being really important. So I did an incentive on watching these 2 training videos, and everyone who did within 24 hours and gave me a takeaway was going into a drawing. I was going to draw 10 names for a Target gift card. I can't remember exactly the details, but I started doing intentional things to increase the culture of personal development on my team. Same with recruiting. I've done several incentives around recruiting. And this does not have to be a big team page thing. This can be in like threads that you have with your runners. Raise your hand if you have a thread like for your runners in your business. Okay, that is something that I've seen a lot of success with personally and with other leaders on my team, is doing small incentives like within that team thread. So basically, like someone might name it goal diggers or something, and it's specifically those people that they are giving like challenges to, or they're going in and saying, hey, I watched this video today. It was really fantastic. Anyone who watches it today, I'm going to send you a $5 Starbucks gift card, like different things like that. And they don't always have to be monetary, but just things that I've seen work within threads to really start building that culture. I did one recently in a level 1s thread of mine. I did a what I did today challenge. And so Monday through Friday, I did the hashtag what I did today, and then I showed them what I personally did in my business. And everyone who did it for those 5 days, I picked 2 names. It was a thread of like 15 people. I picked 2 names and sent like a $50 gift card to. And of course, it doesn't have to be that much money, but I really was trying to engage these people and really get them some good ideas. And a lot of times, us as leaders, when we're showing people what we're doing, that trickles down. So they might have seen that I sent a follow-up message, and and I sent my verbiage like, oh, I never thought about following up that way. And so it spurs on other people to action, and also like gives them some creativity as well. Okay, that was a mouthful. So if anyone has a question after all of that, unmute and let me know, or I'm going to move on. Anybody? Okay. So my challenge so far, there may be a lot of these, is you're journaling about your vision casting and awareness of where you personally are in your business, because if we aren't aware of where we are, we don't know where we're headed, right? So that kind of all comes together. And I want to read y'all a few questions that I journaled about when I was doing my awareness. And some of these may apply, some of them may not, but I'm just going to read a few that I journaled about that helped me find awareness of where I was so I could decide how I wanted to proceed and where I wanted to like really get in with my team and bring the most value with my strengths. So this was a hard question. If you were one of your team members that were led by your current self, would you feel valued, seen, and inspired? That was a good one. That really got me thinking about, where am I bringing value? Am I bringing value? Am I making my people feel seen and inspired and motivated to action in their business? Where do I excel at? And then how can I use those strengths to lead my people? Or how can I better utilize my strengths and giftings that I have to help encourage and inspire my people to action? What is challenging for me that I may need to partner with someone else, maybe a power partner, maybe I need to hire it out. Like where do I need to partner with someone in an area that's not necessarily a gifting of mine? Where can I grow as a leader was another one. And then am I intentionally pursuing growth in my leadership? How? Okay. Last one. There were a lot more, but I don't want to overwhelm y'all. I kind of chatted about this one already, but am I intentionally creating culture within my team? And if not, how can I begin to make steps towards that? So that gives you a lot to think about. And I know I've already said this 1,000 times. I'm going to keep saying it. But if we aren't aware of where we are, even in our leadership and how we're leading people, we cannot be aware of the areas we need to grow. And we are always going to need to be growing, right? I've been doing this for almost 10 years, guys, and I'm still having moments where I'm thinking, okay, I think that I've kind of hit my leadership lid. What's going to take me to the next level? And most of the time, that is my own personal development and then implementing what I'm learning. I feel like one area that you can really grow in, and whether we're talking about influence or impact on your current team, influence on people on your team, or even people that you're hoping to bring on, like your audience that's watching you, is your own personal development and then showing what you're learning, implementing what you're learning. And it's so important. Okay. Let me jump into these questions. Oh, and one more thing I want to say is about strategy. So once you kind of have like your vision of where you want to head, you need to ask yourself, like, what's my strategy to get there? And what do I mean by that? What are the steps I can take to get to where I want to head? And if you're feeling like, oh, I don't know, grab somebody, brainstorm with them, get with a sideline, get with a power partner, get with an upline that's really involved in their business or that you just trust and say, hey, here's where I want to head. I feel a little lost on how to get there. Can you talk me through some of this? And something that I've always had an open door policy with my runners is if someone comes to me and says, listen, I'm feeling like I'm in a stuck place, I'm feeling really stagnant. And you may have people that come to you and say that. If not, you will see it in the future. One thing I always ask for, you guys, is like permission to speak into what I see in their business. So maybe that is like a Facebook audit, like a social media audit. Like I go through and I look and I say, hey, here's some suggestions I have since they gave me permission, right? I've actually never had one person say no when I've asked for permission to speak into things I see they could be doing differently or more of, or tweaking this or that. I will ask people to do like a messaging audit. I've done this one more than any others. They'll say, Tamara, I'm doing what you said. I'm reaching out to people. I'm following up with people and I'm getting crickets. I'm like, send me your messages. I want to see your last 3 to 5 messages that you've sent people about the business opportunity or your follow-up messages. And I just want to read those. And then I can give feedback to what I see in those messages. And that has been really, really helpful. And so I want to encourage you to, if you're in that spot, to get some feedback from people that you trust, a sideline, a power partner, a trusted friend, an upline, to bring about more awareness. So again, you can grow. Y'all, I swear to you, the things that I do really well right now are things that I have failed on multiple times. I told on myself the other day that I was telling my Jules this on a call that I was such a big advocate for like prospecting, message people about the business, go, go, go. And so I got into a place, this is years ago, but I got into a place where it was like, how many people can I message in a day? And I sent the same copy and paste message to about 15 people, and I forgot to change the name. Okay. Y'all can all laugh. You can shake your head at me. Okay. One of the biggest mistakes I ever made. But let me tell you something. That mistake, that changed my business. 100% that changed my business, because what I started doing was quality over quantity. And I got real serious about who I was messaging and being genuine and authentic. It was no longer a race of how much can I do. It was how much heart can I put into this when I am speaking to these people and when I'm reaching out to these people and when I'm following up to these people. And it changed my business, you guys. Some of the best people that I have on my team now. What is it, baby? Okay. Some of the best people that I have on my team now are ones that I reached out to after that occurrence. I will never forget when I realized what I had done. It was an awesome moment, horrific, but awesome. So now I'm a big advocate of quality over quantity when we are just anything we're doing with people, right? We never want people to think that we're being inauthentic or that we're making this about ourselves. We want them to never think, my goal when I'm reaching out, y'all, is for them not to think that this is going to benefit me at all. This is all about them. And how can I bless them? How can I build belief into them? How can I help them in their health or in their financial journey? Okay. So, question, if my strategy isn't working, I have to change it, right? Who's ever heard that analogy? How does it go? Someone's going to know. I can't do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. That's the definition of an insanity. And so that's something I had jotted down too. Is like, what's my strategy in taking this vision and taking this self-awareness? What is my strategy to get to where I want to go? And if it's not working, I got to figure out how to change it. I've got to figure out how to adapt. And so that's where that reaching out to, like someone you trust and getting some feedback and ask and saying, hey, you have permission. Tell me what you're seeing and help me grow in these areas. That's where that comes into. So to summarize, we talked about vision and awareness and getting to where we want to go, asking for feedback, being coachable, and then implementing what's shared with us. Does anybody have anything? Comments, questions, snide remarks? Man, y'all are a quiet group. Surely you don't want to just hear me talk this whole time. Okay. I'm not, you know what? No, I'm going to call in somebody. Brittany Duke. You wrote something in the chat. I saw your name pop up. What did it say?
I was probably cracking a joke, but no, the first thing was serious. I said I liked what you said the other day. It was kind of regarding you asking permission first. And then once they gave permission, you said, can I tell you what really successful people are doing right now? And so like, if you're giving kind of the social media audit, instead of just being like that constructive criticism and things like that,
really good.
Kind of almost blaming it sort of that this is what other people are doing. They're successful. This is what you could do to improve to be like them. And obviously, choosing things that you're kind of already seeing.
Yes, absolutely. And it kind of frames it differently, right? Instead of saying, hey, Brittany, yeah, I really don't think this is great. This isn't great. You should change this. You should change this. It's more of like, hey, let me tell you what I'm seeing right now that's really working for my level 1 Emily. Or let me tell you what's really working that I've been seeing so-and-so do on social media. And she's gotten so much interaction. And it is a way to like empower them with what you're seeing and then like handing that over to them. So yes, I love that. Okay, so I'm going to pull up my list here of different things that you guys had shared, like that you were kind of struggling with. And a couple of you had said finding balance in like work and life. And one thing that I have recommended to people often is really, and this isn't rocket science by any means, but really finding like intentional time that you are going to work your business, right? And for some people that may look like, I know some people have full-time jobs and they're thinking, I'm working in the nooks and crannies here and I can't do anything more. And I've really become a believer in we cannot be wildly successful in the nooks and crannies. Now, when I bring a new person on, 100%, I have someone who's excited. They're working a full-time job. They're excited about going silver and earning that bonus money. You can 100% do that in the nooks and crannies. But as you're growing a team and as you're growing your own leadership, I really think to be like crazy. I use wildly successful because to me that means like you want something big from this, right? You really have to have intentional work time. And so I cannot tell you how many times I've had someone come to me and say, I'm so overwhelmed. I can't figure out how to balance this. And I never get enough time to work. It's like 10 minutes here, 30 minutes here, maybe an hour one day a week. And I'm like, can you hire a babysitter for your kids? Like, can you get 2 days, 2 hours a week and hire a babysitter? Or, and I know that's going to look different for everyone. Everyone's in different stages of life. So basically the question is there time in my week that I can come with a list of exactly what I'm going to do? It's kind of like meal planning, right? Like maybe a lot of people meal plan on Sunday. So maybe you brain dump on Sunday, all the things you want to accomplish in your business this week. And then you go to your intentional work time with that list of things. Because I know for me, I'm not the greatest at time management. And when I've struggled the most with like work-life balance, so to speak, is when I did not have a plan. Like I would sit down with my work time and it was like, all right, who can I message? Oh gosh, I haven't followed up with Sarah in 3 weeks. Oh shoot. Oh, my customer just got their new product. Like I had no intentionality. It was just kind of like grasping at what can I do? And it totally changes my business when I come with my list of things that I want to accomplish in my work. Do I get it all done? No, I don't, but I come with a plan. And so again, this isn't rocket science. It's simply some organization. It's brain dumping, which y'all is so cathartic for me. I love a good brain dump. I do like a business. I literally have a sheet of paper. It's like a business brain dump for the week and then like a life brain dump. And I just get it all out so that it's out of here and onto paper. And then when I'm doing my business time, I bring that and I have it with me and I go through my list of the people that I need to follow up with, a new customer who just got her reset that I want to give her really good instructions so she has the best results, so on and so forth. And so I just want to encourage you, if you're having issues or you have team that are having issues with time management, like have a plan when you come into your work time. And the nooks and crannies, like think about that as just icing on the cake. It's just extra, but your foundation is that purposeful time that you're giving to your business. Any thoughts on that? Okay.
I have kind of like a question on that. Because you get that a lot, especially with new people like working full-time jobs and stuff like that. Is there like a number that you say like, okay, if you can give me an hour a week, we can help you get to this point? Or like, do you have in your experience, since you're so experienced, do you have like a magic number that is kind of like, okay, because I know for me personally as an Emerald, I'm like, okay, I work depending on the week, but it's way more than an hour a day, but it's not 5 hours a day, so I don't know. I just didn't know if there was like a place for people that are working that are like, could you give me an hour a week and we can work together if we have the plan in place or whatever, know?
Yeah. Typically when I'm bringing new people on, like I'm really capitalizing on that excitement. And so I'm not mentioning like anything like I want this amount of time, this many times a week. But as they once they hit silver and they're still excited and it's like, okay, are you ready to go for senior silver? Here, let's devise a plan. Like, how much time do you think you can spend on your business a week? Is it 30 minutes, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday? Can you have a talk with your shareholders, your husband, your partner, and say, hey, are you good on Wednesday nights? You get the kids ready for bed and I'm going to do a team call and I'm going to have an hour to work on my business, like getting that buy-in from people. I waited too long to do that, and it caused a lot of resentment in my marriage. I remember my husband one time coming in, and I was working crazy hours, and he was like, when's this going to stop? Like, this is too much. And I was like, oh, when I hit Ruby, it's just going to be smooth sailing. And we still laugh about that now, because I actually started working more for a time period. But that was a boundary issue for me. And so that does not have to be done. I have some of the most successful people on my team, you guys, and I'm not talking about just diamonds. I just mean like success as far as like momentum, hitting goals, like continuing to grow, continuing to recruit and develop silvers. They have great work-life balance, but it's because exactly what I said, they're coming to the table with purposeful time. They're not wasting their time, because they have, sometimes you guys, the people who have less time are more organized, because they know how, yeah, you're shaking your head. They know how important it is, right? So they're like, I have to be intentional. I don't have any time to waste. So I'm going to come with a plan. So I guess I'm not really answering your question. But as my people are growing, I basically asked them, like, what is the time that you can give? And let's work with that. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, that's super helpful.
Yeah. So, because again, you're not saying you have to do this to do this. It's more like, what can you offer to your business? And then I'm going to help you formulate a plan to meet those goals. Anybody else on that? Okay. Okay. Ghosted after samples. Has that ever happened to you? Okay, everybody's nodding. So I don't know. Hopefully y'all watched my video on follow-up and the silver and 6, but follow-up has become honestly like I would say one of my greatest strengths. And again, it's because I had a lot of issues in the past, but it's something that I've gotten a lot better at over the years. And one of the ways is one of my biggest tips is always ending like with a question and then telling people that you're coming back. And I'm going to apply that to samples in just a minute. So basically, like at the end of any follow-up or reach out, it's always like with a question, not, hey, let me know if you have any thoughts, or let me know what you think about this testimony. But it's always like, hey, like letting them know, hey, I sent you that video. You were asking questions about the triplex. It's like 4 minutes long. I'm going to check back with you on Wednesday to see what you thought about it. Because a lot of people have told me, like, I feel so awkward following up. Like, I don't know what to say. It feels weird. I don't want to be like assertive. And so I'm like, well, you have to let them know that you're coming back. Right. And so then it takes away any of that weirdness, and you don't have to question like, oh gosh, they didn't say they had any questions. They didn't have any thoughts about the testimony. Now what do I say? But you're like, hey, I told you I would check back in with you. So here I am, right? And so a lot of times that is when I have been ghosted. Like when I come back and I'm following up about something that they asked me questions about, like a triplex video or something, or I send them a testimony that has to do with, autoimmune disease that they're dealing with, whatever the case is. And then maybe they haven't read it, right? Or they haven't watched the video. Usually when someone doesn't respond, I believe that's because they haven't done like what I sent to them or asked them to do. Does that make sense? And so they don't want to be like, oh, well, I didn't watch it yet. They feel awkward. And so I just try to like be super real and say, hey, it's totally okay if you didn't get a chance to watch that video. Like I totally get how busy life is. I remember someone sent me a video about some skincare I was looking at, and it took me like 2 weeks to watch it. Or just something that's real and honest, and be like, listen, I can answer whatever questions you have. I'll check back in with you in a couple days. And so you're kind of like breaking that ice. And normally people will come back and say something like, I didn't watch it and I felt bad to tell you, or yes, I haven't had a time to watch it yet. I promise I'm going to do it. But it starts that conversation back up. I have a lot of success with that. Or like the samples specifically that a couple people mentioned, I send samples. They're really excited to try it. When I send them the samples, I always include 2 things. I include a personal card where I'm writing something out to them, if it's a business kind of reach out, or if it's just a product reach out, I'm saying something personal. Like if it's, active and hydrate, for example, I'll tell them my experience with it and how I'm so excited for them to try it. I actually typically, and this is personal preference, but I typically send like 2 or 3 of whatever product I'm sending, unless it's lean. If it's lean, I don't do that because they can taste it and know if they love it. But I feel like sometimes with active, if people have tried it like 3 days in a row, they can feel a little bit more of a difference. And so I'll say, hey, let me know when your samples come in, or I'll check on you. They should be there in a couple of days, and I'll tell you, what to do. And so then I message them instructions. Like, I love to mix it up with and pour it over ice. I love it super cold. I do it in about 10 ounces of water, like whatever my preference is, right? So you're continuing just that conversation and interact. And then, hey, I'll check in with you in a couple of days and see what you thought. Check back in. They don't respond. My mind goes, they probably didn't try the samples yet. Hey, it's okay if you haven't tried the active yet. I get it. But I really want you to try it because I'm so excited for you to just see this like natural energy. I'll check back in with you in a couple of days. So again, like breaking that ice, making it okay if they haven't tried it again. This isn't magic. It's just me trying to be authentic because I know myself, and I've had people send me samples before and I hadn't used them in a week. Like, it's just part of life. Because here's something I had to tell myself early on, because I used to take it really personal. It's kind of like, until you experience Plexus, until you love it, until it does something for you, it's kind of on the back burner. It's like the pot that you forget about on that little back burner, right? And you're cooking on this front burner. This is the main meal, and you got this side that's just like sitting over here. They're not passionate about it yet. They're not sold on it yet. They don't love it yet. And so I try to keep that in mind and just make it real easy, because they obviously have interest if they wanted a sample or if they accepted a sample. When someone doesn't have any interest at all, and I've had people say this to me a couple times, no, I'm good. I'm not interested in a sample. I'm like, okay, no big deal. I get it. Timing may not be good. I'll check back in with you in a few months and see if maybe it'll be a better time for you then, right? So again, I'm also telling them I'll come back at some point and check back in with you. So just keep in mind, back burner until they're sold on something. It's not going to be the forefront of their mind. So just try to give some grace in that. And that's really helped me like emotionally when I am dealing with people who I feel like are so interested and then they don't respond, whether that be the business or the products. Any thoughts on that, Brittany? Yes, exactly. Your messages popped up. We're thinking about Plexus all day, every day. Yes. Other people don't yet because they don't have a story. They haven't had experience with it. And I've had multiple people that I've sent samples to, and they didn't try it for weeks. And then they ended up doing it, and they come back to me and say, I finally tried that Starfruit Guava Active. I didn't like the mango as much, but I love that Starfruit. I want to talk more about this. Okay. So just hang in there with people, give them that freedom. Don't be too pushy. Be there, but don't be too pushy. Keep following up with people and just give them that grace, because we know how it is to put something on the back burner that we're not passionate about yet. Okay. Oh, our time is almost up. We have like 3.5 minutes. So I wanted to address this really quick. A couple of you wrote that you feel just kind of like you don't really know like how to get business builders. And so anytime I have someone come to me and say that, I have 2 thoughts. Like I haven't found a runner yet, or I'm having trouble like really getting people to work the business. Number one, that is normal. It took me many, many months to find anyone that was willing to even post about Plexus. I basically got to gold by myself. It was just customers who were trying the products, and no one was interested in the business. And for a while there, I was really discouraged by that. I was thinking, I can't even get anybody to post on social media one time about Plexus. And so what I've really found, you guys, is that consistency and belief that continues to kind of like drip on people as you're sharing, as you're posting, as you're just living it out. you're continuing to build belief into people about the products and about your belief in the products and in the business opportunity. So don't be discouraged if you don't have someone that's just a hardcore runner yet. It's kind of like gold in your backyard. There is gold out there. It may take a while to find it. You've got to dig, and you got to dig while remaining consistent in what you're doing as you're digging, right? But if you knew for certain that there were business builders out there, your gold out in your yard, would you give up? No, you wouldn't. I had a girl, she's actually a level 1 of mine, who came to me. She was I think she was a Ruby. She was a Ruby at the time. She was so discouraged. She was like, I haven't added a business builder in months. Like, I can't get anybody to do anything. The next month, her level 1 had a fast start senior Ruby. Now, was it her direct? It wasn't. It was her level 1s, but that catapulted her business to emerald. And then it just kept on flowing. It kept on flowing. So you never know what is around the corner. And so I always tell people it's normal. It may take a lot of recruiting to find a business builder. It may not. Some people find them really early on, but the majority don't. I did not find my runners early on. My strongest people came when I was after Ruby, senior Ruby. It was just like silvers here and there, 1 gold as I continued to work up the ranks. So I just want to encourage you, keep growing, keep sharing, keep building others' belief. And the biggest thing, guys, is not to quit. And I know you guys have heard that over and over again, but it's so true. Don't quit searching for those people, because they are out there. There is someone that's going to join this month that's going to earn the Leaders Retreat Cruise that will go on to be a diamond in this company. I have no doubt about it. There are a lot of amazing things coming for Plexus, you guys. I was just in a town hall with some of our corporate people, and I wasn't having a belief issue by any means, but I walked out of there with really strong belief about where we are headed, products wise, innovation wise, tech wise, app wise, health wise, like all these different things. And so I want to encourage you, there's a lot of good ahead. So you've got to continue to make impact and be influential to